There's people who have pastors, reverends, whatever.
Yes.
They built ginormous churches that, multinational churches.
Well, let's say God built it.
God built it.
Yeah.
And then they don't
Yes.
continue with the process that they started
Yes.
with. They think, okay, so I've figured out a few things and I've got my team. So we're too busy to stop and pray about this.
Yes. I really think in those scenarios, people develop a God complex. They might not come out and say it, but they are feeling like they're God. It is super dangerous because, and it don't have to be a mega church. It could be an individual who think they got it all, know it all. They sitting there like, I'm the man.
I'm the man now.
If I say it, it goes. I mean, it's like, and then they have most of the time they have people around them who prop them up that way. Mm-hmm. And that is so, I mean, it's dangerous no matter where it's at, but it's definitely dangerous in the church.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Welcome.
Oh, good evening. Whatever time it is, wherever you are.
Wherever you are. This is the Today for Tomorrow podcast. My name is Martel.
I'm Pastor Rod.
And we welcome you today to this episode. Now, could you go ahead and say what the topic is?
Is it because you don't like it, Martel? Is that why you want me to do it? but I can do it. I can do it. I can do it.
It's his idea.
That's why he want me to. He want to hear me say. So look, today's topic is this: Are you ghosting God? And I don't mean Casper the Ghost. Are you ghosting God? That's our topic.
That's our topic today. Are you leaving God on red?
Yeah.
Is that what you're doing?
Are you not calling him back when he calls you? Did he reach out to you and ask you to come by?
Tell him.
And you just
Tell him.
out the blue, nothing. Didn't call, didn't text, didn't do nothing. Are you ghosting God?
I certainly hope not. So tell me about what inspired this subject?
Actually, basically working with a few people, right? So send them text messages. Hey, how you coming along?
Let's see where this is going.
Nothing. Crickets. Send an email. Mm-hmm. Hey, heard, what's going on? Where we at with such thing?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Right.
So I was like, man, I just got ghosted. Out the blue. Communicating 1 minute, back and forth, good conversation. Think we're gonna move forward with a project and all that. And then want to go take the next step. Let's do this. Nothing, y'all. Nothing.
Jeez. Do you see that often?
Often is a relative term. So I will say I've seen it too much.
What is the typical scenario where you see it the most?
Usually it's one of those situations that, let's say I'm looking for someone to do a particular task or something, right? And they're like, hey, I can do this for you. Hey, we can sit down and talk about it, come up with the ideas, and we agree. Okay, let's get ready to move forward. Let's get an agreement together. This is what I'm looking for. This is what you say you do. So let's take the next step. Okay, I'm gonna get back with you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get back with you next week, and we're gonna meet. Okay, what day you want to meet? Oh, we meet Wednesday at 5:00. Follow up Monday. Hey, we still good for Wednesday? No response.
No response. Well, sometimes I get the feel like, yeah, we good for sure. 100.
And then you get to that time, and it's like, no response. And I guess I'll be honest with you. And it used to be very rare. Okay, I would go back years ago. It didn't happen. People normally say, hey, they're gonna do something. They're there, or they at least say, hey, I'm sorry, I couldn't make it. Hey, forgive me, can we meet again, or kind of reschedule. But I got to say, in the last 5 years or 6 years, I've seen it more.
Has there been any big changes in your life in the last 5 years, 6 years?
Other than 5 years older? No, nothing major.
Nothing major.
I think, honestly, I think it's more society, okay? And it's funny, I was reading an article a few years ago where employers were talking about how they would hire someone, sign it down the line, give them their start date, and they would not show up for work. So they had this issue where people were ghosting employers, and they would not hear from them. And it was on the news. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, wow, okay. And it just made me think about it. And you talk to different people, and they have the same situations, whether it be dating, whether it be employment, working. I can't say that it happened in any friendships. You know, people who connected with, you know, we've connected.
Yeah.
And they follow up and so forth and all that. But it's usually about some type of work being done, or at least for me anyway.
What do you think is at like the root of that?
You know what? I don't know. I mean, I guess if I was to guess, I'll think this. So I sit there and I'm like, why would someone not call back? Why would someone not respond? Why would someone start out, you know, on fire like, hey, yep, I'm in, and then all of a sudden, nothing. And the only thing I can come up with is this. Either they weren't sincere to start with, either they cannot do what they said they were going to do, or either they found something else they want to do other than do what they said they're going to do with you. So, though I haven't done research on this, so I don't know. But that's my theory. And then sometimes I think people just kind of blow you off because what you want from them doesn't mean enough to them.
Well, yeah, I see that. I can see that.
Yeah, you know, it's like I get to them when I get to them. So,
See, that is so interesting because I've seen the same thing like recently, like in the last few years. But it's always because the reason that I asked that question because I was just trying to figure out, okay, what is the context for a person to not follow through? Like, what is the context for a person not to just do everything that they said that they were going to do, send it, whatever they were supposed to send, whatever it is. And what I found is always something that has to do with, well, in business you see it a lot when people aren't going to, and I don't know the root of this. I would love to have sat down with someone who has ghosted in the past and say, so why did you ghost me? Like,
you want to find a habitual ghoster, right?
Right. Like, let's just get to the bottom of it since you're here.
Yeah.
But it always comes when there's something. So like because it's easy to be a dreamer, but it's hard to execute.
Yes.
So we love to sit and we're gonna come up with this idea. We're gonna build this business together. We're gonna do this humongous operation. It's gonna be great. We're gonna go all over the world with it, right?
Yes.
Everybody's down for that. Everybody's down to sit and put it on paper. We're all excited. But then when it comes to the actual execution of that idea, then you get the numbers start to dwindle.
Yes.
You start to see who's actually going to show up every day and get the thing done. And that number is always tremendously smaller than the people who started with the dream.
You know, and I think because when it comes to time to actually take action, and I think a lot of people are good at the idea piece. Or
it's exciting. It's exciting.
Exactly. But it requires no effort at that point. And
if you think of it, you can say it.
Exactly. But when it comes to like being accountable, and maybe that's the right word to use, when people have to be accountable, then it's like, oh, wait a minute.
Wait,
you want me to actually...
I actually think I got a meeting to go to. I don't know if I can...
It looks like it's gonna
Did my
rain.
mom just call me?
Yeah,
Wait a minute,
man.
I gotta
go home.
I gotta go home.
Oh man, I gotta go. You know what? I gotta go change my shoestrings and my shoes.
He said I was supposed to send you what on what day? You know, actually, my dog, right? He ain't got no dog. My dog got sick this one day, and on that same day, I was gonna send it to you, bro. I was gonna send it to you.
Promise.
I promise I was gonna send it. Look, tonight, I'm gonna send it to you. He still ain't sent it.
No. It didn't run across a month later, like...
Did your dog get sick again? That's what it was.
But you know what gets me, though, too, as we talk about this? Have you ever run across somebody who ghosted you, and you see them, and they act like nothing ever happened?
That's always funny.
It is. It's like, hey, man, how you doing? Hey, yeah, remember? And sometimes I talk to them a while just to see if it'll come up, but
they don't want you to. They don't want you to bring it up. They thinking about it. Well, they definitely thinking about it.
But man, Martell, your question though. I mean, what? And you're right, digging into that. Why? I mean, I think we're kind of guessing at it, but
check this out.
Okay, go ahead.
when you were a kid, right? And
I actually was a
your
kid.
breaking news. It's recorded. He said
I was a kid. But go ahead.
and you're in the house, you're maybe playing video games or something, right? And then your mom says, "Did you take out the trash?" You're right in front of her. You really can't run and ghost her.
No.
But you don't want to say.
You better not ghost her. Man.
Exactly. You better not. There's consequences with that too.
Yeah.
But in that moment, you don't want to say, "No, I have not." Because that's hard to say.
Yes.
Because you know you were supposed to. It was your responsibility to do so.
Exactly.
There's a certain level of accountability with it.
Yes.
And you don't want to say, "Oh, Mom, I didn't take the trash out. It was supposed to be Timmy. Timmy was supposed to take the trash out."
Yeah, you check.
But in that moment, I feel like that's the same scenario at a different level.
Yeah, I got you. You know what? Good point. Because the difference, though, is that I guess now, that scenario versus now is that we have texting, we have emails.
It can say "read" next to a text message.
Yeah, all that. But the point, though, is that you don't have to be in front.
Exactly. So now we have the opportunity to ghost people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to see him again, or what's my odds of running across him again? What? No skin off my teeth. You know, it's like, hey. And that whole job thing, it's like, okay, fine, whatever. You know, I don't want that job, so I'm not going to ever go back to that company again. But man, isn't that like overly like just, besides being selfish and just thinking about what works for you, or not you, but that individual, there's no regard for what you're doing to that individual. Like in my case, if we're supposed to be doing some business together, I'm relying on you to do the business.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that person ghosts you. You know what I mean? It's just, either it's a insecurity issue. I don't know. I really don't know. We need, if you're a ghoster, we need you to reach out to us, and we just like to understand you.
Yeah. Let me think. Was there a time that I've ghosted, like flat out ghosted somebody on something? Because I mean, there's like I came back.
But let's define.
Go ahead.
So, ghosting, if you go look it up, because it's a new term. In dating, it's like stop talking to somebody without any warning, without any, lead in.
Right. That means you didn't just flat out say, "Look, we ain't about to talk no more."
No, you just stopped.
You just stopped.
And things would be good. Work. So you're gonna take a job. You just don't show up. Don't return the calls. Don't do anything. So that's the ghosting we're talking about.
No.
But that's an example. So go ahead.
In that context, I would have to really sit and do some digging to see if I've ghosted somebody in that way. Because when it comes to like, if there's something that maybe we talked about it and it sounded really good at one point, but then later on it was like, oh, actually, I don't think I'll be able to do that. Then that's a conversation that has to be had.
Yeah.
Rather than just, I'm gone.
Don't respond.
Or
no
response.
You're not even saying I'm gone. You're just making an effort to say, put it like this. It's like my parents in Chicago, okay? It's like me saying, I'm not calling them anymore. I'm just not calling. And they're like calling, I just won't pick up. Okay. No reason, no rhyme or reason. Now, that's pretty extreme, but let's make it a little softer than that. Okay. I used to belong to another church, right? And
I have ghosted somebody. It's bad. Go ahead. I just thought about
I came to you. And, basically, if I call somebody and I'm like, hey, we're good, we're cool, and they never call you back, in a way, they get ghosting you, but that's not as blatant as some other things. So I guess I can't say that I've ever ghosted anybody. Usually I call somebody back if they call me. But if it's about one of those things where they call me and they want something all the time, if you calling me and you want something every time you call, and that's the only reason you call, don't expect me to call back. If that's a pattern, but that's not ghosting in my mind.
Is a delayed callback ghosting?
No, ghosting is no callback.
Oh, well, I ain't ghost nobody then. The one situation that I was gonna say is, I know this is gonna be bad. Everybody strap yourself in.
Hit your record button, baby.
I was at my grandma's house, and when I go to my grandma's house, I don't know if y'all go through this, but when I show up to my grandma's house, she has a list of things that she needs fixed, put together, done, looked at, tested out, all of this.
Martell about to go to work.
So right, it is a job when you go in.
Okay.
And so I show up to this place and I got my laundry list of things that I need to do. Okay, we got to fix the TV. She missing this channel, so let's move the antenna a little bit. She still uses an antenna.
Uh-huh.
There's this thing that she bought from the thrift store that needs to be put together.
Okay.
And so I'm putting this thing together, and we realize, okay, Grandma, you don't have the pieces to this. You got this thing from the thrift shop, and the pieces that are needed, the most essential parts of this, are not in this box. What's up? She's like, oh, well, I mean, shoot, well, I take it back, see if they got them, and then, just come back and build the thing together. In my head, I'm thinking, in 2022, would they just have it sitting somewhere else?
Yeah, well, it's sitting over there. We go.
Oh, we forgot to put it in the box.
We're glad you came in.
Right. I'm like, the box is all taped up and everything too. I'm like, they don't have these pieces.
No.
In my head, I'm like, they don't got these pieces. But I'm like, and she's adamant about, no, just take. I'm like, so you just want to get a different one? They're like, no, just go to the place and pick up the pieces, because they probably got them, and then bring it back.
Yeah.
So I'm like, Grandma, I don't think they're gonna have the pieces. So I leave, and I've got these pieces in my car. Then I eventually take them out of the car, take them home, and then I didn't go to the thrift shop because I knew that was a wasted time. That was wasted time.
So what wound up happening there?
So she called back about this, and I'm like, I know what she's about to call about.
You didn't do it. You didn't pick the call up from your grandma Martell. You did.
I'm not gonna lie to y'all. The first time I didn't. I know exactly what is on the other side of this call. I cannot be held accountable to this because I did not grab those pieces.
Oh man, Martell.
Did we make arrangements so that she can get a different one? Yes. Okay. But did I want to talk about me not going to that thrift shop? No.
So I'm gonna give you a break here. Okay? So you just didn't take that call that time.
Eventually we talked.
Eventually. I don't even want to know how long it took. But you did talk. So you didn't ghost your grandmother.
Right. No, and then the arrangements was made with my mom too. So it was like,
Are you blame shifting now?
No. We made sure it got done.
Okay, I got you. So you guys worked together, make sure you got what she needed.
Exactly.
So you fixed the problem. You just didn't have an answer.
Fix the problem. I just didn't want to consult the first.
I'm trying to bail you out here. So I got you now. So you really couldn't address the issue by talking to her right then because you didn't have the answer.
I didn't have the answer.
Yeah. That's nowhere near ghosting.
What? Oh, well.
That's not. No, that's not. I mean, I'm not saying you're an angel, but that's nowhere near ghosting though. Because ghosting is just really just like I'm not calling. I mean, another example ghosting made me think about it. Okay, had an electrician do some work when we first moved here, right?
Okay.
So him and this guy came out, boom, paid them their money. Okay. Next day I'm like, hey, dude, one of the outlets you guys put in is not working. Oh, I'll be out there. Okay, call, didn't show up. Called again. Hey, dude, when you coming out? Oh, I'm coming out tomorrow. After that, never answered my call no more.
You knew who was on the other side of that call.
Well, he did know. And I mean, I want to fix it myself. And really what it was just the outlet he put in was bad. I mean, thank goodness it was a small issue. But the point though is that he ghosted me. And a lot of times, I guess, man, you think about it now, how many times have people had work done on something, whether it be a mechanic, whether it be something else, and you see it on the news all the time. The person that did the work don't want to warranty the work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear that about I heard horror stories about videographers and photographers who
Oh,
would
dude.
just don't show up to certain things, or
Yes.
they'll shoot it and then never give you the final product.
Oh, you know what? You're right. I mean, it's funny. We heard a story about a photographer down in Florida. This couple never got their pictures and paid about 3/4 of the money, and never got the pictures. It was a crazy amount. So yeah, that's ghosting. And I guess here's the thing too. Why are we talking about ghosting? We're talking about actually, are you ghosting God? So since we laid this foundation now, how are people ghosting God?
Well, I mean, and you were talking about this earlier. Tutorial on how to make salted apples with peanut butter is on my story currently. But,
Wait. Let's clarify. Cutting up an apple, putting a little salt on the apple, and some peanut butter. If you haven't had it, you're missing out. How do you like it, Martel?
Just like that. Healthy snack.
All right.
Definitely get it in. All right.
Okay. Go ahead. I digress.
We were discussing this while we were doing that. All right.
Okay, all right.
So when I think about ghosting God, I think about there's a few different scenarios.
Okay.
I think there's multiple different scenarios. There's the Christian who was all in, all for God, got the Jesus T-shirt, and then something happened, and then they made a prayer, they didn't get their answer, and then they don't talk to him no more. Ghosted.
Yeah.
One scenario.
Yep.
We got your parents took you to church when you was raised in the church, right? You know, you've read some of Proverbs. You know it's there.
Yep.
You've talked to God once or twice, and then you went to college. They told you that it's all because of a Big Bang, and that all of this is science, and none of it is spiritual. And you said, "Oh, okay, forget about all that."
Yep. Nah.
Scenario number 2.
Yep. Hey, great examples. And actually, let's throw another one in there too. So you got people who are Christians, who are serving God, right, in some capacity, and God calls them to do something. Calls them, say, they know in their spirit God has called them
Definitely.
to do something. And it don't have to be something big. It could be, hey, I just want you to go out and work at the shelter. You know, anything like that.
I need you to give $100 to this person.
Yes. And it gets ignored.
Oh, he couldn't be that. I must have came up with that in my head. Ain't
Yeah,
no way that was from God.
God ain't talking to me.
It was-
And you might have a relationship with God, and you might be following these things, but are you really listening to what God is telling you? Are you ignoring his commands? Because in one way, I could look at that as being a way of ghosting God, when we ignore what he's telling us we need to be doing.
Definitely. I think. Well, shoot. Let's get a fourth one in while we.
All right. Hey, let's keep it rolling. Keep it rolling.
There's the scenario of, again, I got the Jesus T-shirt. I'm all for it, and I'm working in it. I answered the call,
Yeah. Okay.
but I'm building. I'm growing. I get to a point where I think I got this by myself.
Whoa. Ooh.
now I'm just continuously doing these things. I'm doing a bunch of good things, but now I'm not consulting the one who gave me the assignment in the first place.
Yeah.
Now I've effectively ghosted God. Now everything that I've built is at risk.
Because you in that scenario, you're taking God out of it.
You took God out of
It's
it.
you. It's you. Hey, I did this. It's not about God anymore. It's about you. So really, God's kind of over in the corner. You ain't even consulting him, like you said.
Exactly. You might have started with him.
Yeah.
But that ain't where you're at right now.
No. And so that's, wow. Yeah. I mean, sadly,
That's a dangerous spot.
I was thinking the same thing. It really is, because for one, you're taking credit for something God's doing. Okay. 2, you're setting yourself up for the fall, because there are consequences, and God's gonna let you know he's God. Okay.
Oh yeah.
And when that happens, you're gonna know it.
Especially this scenario, there's people who they could be pastors, reverends, whatever.
Yes.
They built ginormous churches that, multinational churches.
Well, let's say God built it.
God built it.
Yeah.
And then they start to just release what they was doing in the beginning. They don't
Yes.
continue with the process that they started
Yes.
with. They think, okay, so I figured out a few things and I've got my team, so let's just keep on rolling. We're busy.
Yes.
We're too busy to stop and pray about this.
Yes. But you know, Mark, as you say that though, I really think in those scenarios, people develop a God complex. Because
I know the word, so I don't need to pray about it.
No, exactly. And I think they might not come out and say it, but they are feeling like they're God. You know what I mean? It's,
Yikes.
And so it is super dangerous because, and it don't have to be a mega church. It could be an individual who think they got it all, know it all. It could be a deacon. It could be a pastor, like you said. It could be just a member.
Be a business
Sunday school
professional,
teacher.
yeah.
A business professional. Perfect example. Yeah, you're right. They sitting there like, I'm the man.
I'm the man now.
If I say it, it goes. I mean, it's like, and then they have most of the time they have people around them who prop them up that way. Mm-hmm. And that is so, I mean, it's dangerous no matter where it's at, but it's definitely dangerous in the church. And I mean, I always say this, and you always keep me honest, so I know I won't have this issue as long as, you know, we doing this or doing anything. Is you honest with me? And you ask me a question like, why are we doing that?
I think it's really important to have those kind of people like in your corner. 'Cause
It is.
You get, especially if you're doing stuff that is like, it's good stuff and it's out front. Like people see it and people can see the things that you're doing and they can say that, oh, that's good stuff. Because then you can, everybody's telling you how great you are, how good this stuff is that you're producing, or how awesome the thing is that you've built. And if nobody is saying, but what about this? Or how's your relationship with your wife? Or, how's your health doing? Or, I heard you say this thing. Do you believe that?
Yeah, exactly. But I think, and here's the challenge too. I wouldn't call it a challenge. You grow when you have people like that around you.
Definitely.
You do. I think people who develop that God complex, they don't want people telling them they're wrong. Matter of fact, they'll start pushing those people away.
Yeah.
And to me, that's always out. I don't know about you, but I kind of watch those situations sometimes because there's some humble pastors around. I mean, I've been blessed to be around somewhere. People are looking to serve them. They feel like they're a servant. And as a pastor, I feel like I'm a servant. I'm here to serve. I should get down there and get just as dirty as anybody else, even dirtier as far as the work go. But if ever, myself or someone wants to sit back and say, oh, I should be served, that's the start of going down the wrong path. And that's when you start pushing God to the back. And that's when that whole ghosting God starts, I think, in your spirit.
I think, because now that I'm thinking about it, I think Saul had to have ghosted God.
Yeah. You think about it. I mean, well, you go ahead. You tell me why, and I'll
Well, because, we talked about how he was close to God at one point. God put him in position, and then he started to think about how David was getting praised, and then he wanted to get David out, just like how you were just saying. Because David was getting his shine. David was doing his thing. He was following God too.
Yeah, he was.
Saul was no longer thinking about what is God doing through me. He was thinking about, oh no, this guy's going to take this away from me.
Exactly. He was jealous of him.
He was jealous.
Yep.
And so now he's starting to, pursue this man, to hunt him down, really.
To kill him.
To kill him.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You can't be talking to God and doing that.
No, and then the flip side of that, though, taking David's side, here David had multiple opportunities to take Saul out.
Yep.
During that whole process. And he was like, nope, God anointed him king. He respected him, the role that God gave him. And he knew it was God's role to take him out or do whatever he's going to do with him. But you're right, Saul did ghost God. Because it started when him and his boys, they went to go, God told them to take this other group down and wipe them totally out. Mm-hmm. So what did they do? They went and they saw the plunder. So they tried to keep the best stuff. We shouldn't get rid of this. So they went against what God said. And that's when God said, okay. That's when the consequence came. That's when Saul had to go.
The higher you grow up in terms of position of influence, the closer you have to be to God because the consequences are so much greater.
Yes.
The consequences are so much more in your face and out in the public.
Well, and partly too, because the closer we get to God, the better we know Him. The more it's like we know better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We know better, and for us to ignore God is more blatant. You know, it's one thing to, like some of the examples we gave, like, you know, that person will get forced to go to church. Maybe they haven't even established a relationship with God, so they haven't got that. They don't even know. So it's easier for them to ghost God because they haven't had that connection. But that person that had the connection or has the connection, and then ignores it, and like pushes away from God, man, it's not good. It's not good.
No, can't be. Can't be.
No, not at all. I mean, it's whole. I mean, it's just, this topic just hit me because I was just, you know, thinking about how many people, and I'm not here to know what people's hearts are, but looking at society and looking at how many people just ignore who God is and who don't pick up the phone when He calls, don't listen to the Spirit when He directs them. And then I was like, you know what, I need to check myself to make sure that, you know, I'm doing what God tells me to do. Because sometimes I'm like you said, I'm like, Lord, you talking to me for real? You know,
For me, was this a missed call? You
didn't mean to dial my number.
You had to be talking to Susan from down.
And then you don't call God back on it, like, you know, well, Lord, do you really want me to do that? No, maybe I don't say nothing. God won't say nothing, you know. So yeah, but I mean, we're joking, but the truth is that though we have to pick that phone up, and if we're concerned about it, we need to go to God and say, hey, Lord, what do you want me to do?
Yeah. Answer that call.
Yeah, answer the call. Don't ghost God.
Don't ghost God.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit, because I know we're getting there. Let's just talk about a little bit of the consequences and the benefits of this scenario. So if you ghost God, why is God calling you in the first place? Right? So God has thoughts. Jeremiah 29:11.
Okay. Yep.
He's thinking about you. He's got plans for you.
Yeah, you got plans.
For peace, for love, for your good.
Yes.
So if He's coming to you, and if He's saying something to you, if He's putting something in your spirit for you to do, it's for your good, your benefit, and everybody who you're going to affect by doing what He told you to do.
Yes.
So if He's coming to you, it might seem difficult, right? Some things that might seem difficult, it might be a little struggle there, or it might seem like something that you've never done, something that's so big or so great that it's like, God, I don't know if I can do something like that. The thing is, He's calling you because He wouldn't have put it in your spirit for you to do if He didn't give you the potential to do it.
Yes.
And He didn't make arrangements for it to be done.
Yes.
So that's why He's calling you. So when you decide not to answer that, when you decide to ghost God, now you have just forfeited something that was a part of your purpose, your reason for existing.
Yes.
Now, look, if a fish tried to walk on land, how long would he survive?
Not long, because he can't breathe.
Because he can't breathe. Now, put that in the context of God created you for something. He told you to do it. He told you what to do, and you decided to go completely against what was natural to you. You just trying to walk on land and you'll fish.
Wow, that's a picture. You're right, and you will not be able to breathe, and you will die.
You will die.
And a death is not so much, you know, that you're gonna fall dead. We hope you don't. But the point though is that
in some people's case, you will just fall dead.
You're right. It does happen. You're right. But the point though is spiritually, you won't be able to breathe. And that whole, you wonder why the life is empty, because you take away the purpose.
Yeah. And that too, in that same line of thought, it's like maybe you sinned and you felt guilty about it, but you ignored that guilt. You never did anything to change it. So you kept doing the same thing. You ghosted God in that scenario. Now your heart becomes hard. Now you don't even see it as a problem anymore.
Exactly.
Death.
And you become a slave to it. And that's that whole being a slave to sin piece.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because it owns you at that point.
It owns you. Yeah. It owns you. And let's not talk about like let's not talk about this death as like like you said, it's not just you just fall out and die, right? The spiritual death could take many different forms. You might financially death,
Yes.
relationships death, sickness death, like
And just
hope is death.
Yeah.
You might end up just stuck doing the same things over and over, stuck in the same types of relationships, the same
Yes.
scenarios. Everything keeps failing. Nothing seems to be working. Death.
Yes.
Because what? You ghosted God.
Goes to God. Left him out. Left him out. Now, Martell, I wasn't sure how this discussion was going to go since when I brought up the topic, you looked at me like, what is he talking about? But that last statement tells me that you started to get into this topic. You kind of feel where this is going.
Oh yeah, we have our conversations.
We do. See,
I mean, I have my thoughts when you said it. I was just gonna wait till we got here.
I got you. What you guys don't know, you think that we kind of choreographed this stuff. It's not choreographed. No, but the whole thing, it's important. You know,
It's important.
It is, and I think we think about the Bible as being this stale book, but it's a living word, meaning it applies to things that's happening today, yesterday, and the things that's going to happen tomorrow.
Yep.
So
You can stand on it.
exactly, it's a living word. So these things we talk about ghosting and all that, it applies. We can go to the word and see the same thing.
So what you're saying is, today we seek God. Today we pick up the phone when He calls,
Yes,
and we do what He says to do,
exactly.
so that tomorrow we can actually have the benefits, the life, and the life in every area, every sense of the word, in every area of our life.
The abundant life.
The abundant life.
Yes.
So we got to answer that call. We
Gotta
can't
answer
ghost
God.
God.
No, can't ghost God.
Can't ghost God.
Because you laid it out. When you ghost him, it's death. And this is probably a good place to end our discussion today.
Well, there it is then, people. So this has been the Today for Tomorrow podcast. We do appreciate you for being here.
Yes.
Again, my name is Martel,
I'm Pastor Rod.
and we certainly hope to see you next week. Peace.
Peace.